Hey, we're back. It's Kyle Henderson and Andrew Bone of BamaInsider.com as we continue to talk about the class of 2019. Today, we're talking about Faatui Tuitele, a big defensive tackle out of Hawaii, 6'4", 287 pounds. I mean, Alabama's starting to – I like that pipeline that they're getting to Alabama. I don't know if it's like a true pipeline, but, I mean, you got Tua, you got his younger brother, the Rivals 100 defensive lineman, recently named the top five. Were you surprised by any of the favorites, Andrew?
A little bit, yeah. You know, Faatui Tuitele, one of the Alabama's top defensive line targets out of Honolulu, named his top five earlier this week, and it was Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, Texas, and Washington. And one of the most noticeable absent schools on that list was USC. A school that a lot of people thought was going to be Alabama's toughest competition in recruiting him, and he ended up not having USC in there. The only Pac-12 school that made the list was Washington. So obviously Washington has a really good tradition defensive lineman, and he's got some connections there. But I think that Alabama fans and Alabama coaches have to feel pretty good about where things stand right now with him, because a lot of people thought it was Alabama or USC, and now USC is not in the mix. So we'll see what happens.
Based on the finalists, does it seem like Alabama is the most likely destination, or is it still too early to tell right now?
Well, it's still kind of too early to tell. I know a lot of people want to, go ahead and make predictions and say that he's going to Alabama or, whatever. But, I think it's still kind of early. I think he wants to take his official visits. And I think that's why he came out and named this top five, so that he can take official visits to all five of these schools and make the best decision for himself. Now, going into the visits, I'd probably lean Alabama as the favorite, but still he needs to take these visits. He needs to kind of enjoy the summer, kind of see everything he needs to see, and then possibly make a decision for the beginning of the school year. Maybe he decides to wait, but I definitely think we'll see a decision by December. And I think as of right now, it looks pretty good for Alabama, but still a long way to go.
There's a lot of defensive targets for Alabama at the defensive line position. It's a big board. Alabama already has 3 commitments. DJ Dell already committed as a defensive tackle. So when we talk about Faatui Tuitele, is he considered one of Alabama's key targets in your opinion?
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think once he made the trip from Hawaii to Tuscaloosa, Alabama coaches got a chance to spend some time with him, learn a little bit about him, really kind of just size him up as well, and see if he had the right mental capacity to go to Alabama. And I think that once they met with him and kind of spent some time with him, they realized, this kid is an Alabama type guy. And so, they've been heavily recruiting him ever since that visit, and they definitely want him as part of this class. There are a lot of defensive line targets out there, and we've talked about a lot of kids, and we're going to continue to mention a lot of kids throughout the year. And there could be some more guys that pop up on the radar screen over the course of the next month, especially with Alabama having some big camps in June, especially 2 high school camps and 2 O-line, D-line camps. So there's going to be some more guys that pop up, but there's no doubt that Faatui Tuitele is going to remain one of Alabama's key targets until he makes that decision.
So I have to ask you this then. Who's with potentially USC out of the equation, who is the biggest threat to Alabama?
I think it's Washington. Obviously there's some great schools that are in the mix for him. Some schools that have great defensive line tradition. With Ohio State and Clemson in the mix, and also Texas They've got some. He's got some great choices right there. But I think if he were to go outside of the Pac-12, it would be Alabama. Obviously, if he does decide to stay in the Pac-12, it's Washington. Unless he ends up, putting USC back in there at a later date. You never know. He named a top 5. I don't think this is a final 5. I think it's a top 5 right now. Could easily change. We see it change all the time with the high school recruits throughout the year. I mean, Patrick Surtain Jr. Alabama wasn't in his top 5 this time last year. I think he had a top 10. Alabama was probably 7 or 8 at the time on his top 10. So once he narrowed down his list to a top 5 later on, Alabama was in it. So you never know. We may see a change in the top 5 down the road, but as of right now, I think it's an Alabama-Washington battle.
Final question for Andrew Bone, our recruiting analyst at BamaInsider.com. We're talking about Faatui Tuitele, a 6'4", 287-pound defensive tackle out of Hawaii. I mean, is he a guy that could certainly just fit into Alabama's system schematically in terms of his playing style, in your opinion?
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, he's got the frame, he's got the size, he's extremely strong, very quick. I think he's got everything you're kind of looking for in a defensive lineman, especially an Alabama defensive lineman. Kids that can come in there and be a defensive end. His size, 285. He's 285 pounds right now. He's like get to 300 pounds by the time he gets to college and be a very disruptive defensive lineman. Wherever he may go, if that's Tuscaloosa or Austin or anywhere else. So I think he's got a chance to have a very successful career at the next level.
Thanks for joining us on our Class of 2019 Prospect Series with Andrew Bone. My name is Kyle Henderson, both of BamaInsider.com. Follow us on Twitter /BamaInsider. Same on Facebook. You can always look for the free 30-day trial to sign up for our premium membership and get the scoop every single day from Andrew Bone. Tony Sakala is also part of the staff, and us three make up the staff at BamaInsider.com. Continue to look for our coverage on the YouTube channel and, of course, all our coverage back at BamaInsider.com. Until next time, we'll catch you soon.